this photo that you posted, this appeal that you took to social media, why you saw the need to take it now to social media? Why was it the right time to come on social media and put this story out there like this?
I've been dealing with this situation with my daughter since April. I found out about him in April, and she told me that he was a little older than her. And I was like, how much older? She was talking to a gentleman. He was 20. She had just left Job Corps. He was 20. I really was like, but she was like, well, he's the baby of the family, and he was kind of childish. And she was like, and I said, okay, because I never put behind the fact that she is 17 years old, and she is a young mother. She has had a lot on her plate. So I was not naive to those factors.
Right.
However, it went from me thinking it was one person to this being this grown man.
Right.
When I found out, I was going live one day and I was talking about it because I was trying to find out who he is.
Right.
You know, where is he from? What does he have going on? Who is this guy that's on my daughter's radar? So when I was trying to figure out who he was, I went live on Facebook. She came in there and she was, we got into an altercation. We actually got into a physical altercation on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So, because I go live all the time.
Okay.
And it was all because of this guy, trying to find out who he was. So when I posted the picture, I wasn't looking for, because I'm not my daughter's Facebook friend. She makes several different pages, so I'm not her friend.
Right.
And my brother's birthday, I knew it was either the first or the second. So I got on Facebook to give my brother a birthday shout out because I just had one. And when I went to his page, I seen friends and I seen her name. Now you're done. I said, look here. So I clicked on it.
Right.
And when I clicked on it, I seen the picture from Halloween. And the picture from Halloween was my grandbaby. Well, she was just here, so I saw her.
Right.
This was the day before. And I scrolled up, and the next picture I saw was this picture that I posted. I said, well, jackpot. Now I got something to stand on. So when I instantly saved it to my phone, posted it, made my post. I'm like, look, because I have a lot of friends here in Indy. A lot of people know me because, just because of school, just because of what I do in the community. I've been in the newspaper here. I've been on the news here. I've been recognized for what I do for my people, for my community.
Right.
So I was just like, somebody gonna tell me who he is. My daughter is 17 years old. She'll be 18 in March. She has 2 children. I travel a lot. And we were living in Alabama. We had moved to Alabama. My grandmother had gotten sick, so we had come back home. We were only there for 7 months. I wanted to go back to Alabama because I have a nonprofit organization, and we were taking it down to Alabama to help out.
Let's slow down a little bit. Before we get to Alabama, I wanna find out about the type of relationship that you guys had as you had with her as growing up. Was it a relationship where she could come to you and talk to you about her problems? Was it like a nice open type of conversation relationship with your daughter?
Oh, absolutely. My daughter could come to me and talk to me about anything, everything. We don't have any bars or rules, or when it comes to talking, even if she can't say it to me, she can get it and write it down, and I'll respond by writing her back if that's what we had to do, whatever we have to do.
Right.
I've always had a relationship like that with all of my children.
Okay.
Anaya is my 3rd child.
Okay.
She's number 3 in line. She's my first girl, and she was my only girl. I had, in between the children, I had 4 years to have her as a girl by myself.
Right.
She's my rock. She's my sidekick. She's my dog. That's my baby.
Okay, right. So you said she also have 2 kids. She had a kid when she was 14 years old.
Yes.
Right. How was that at that age? Was she being promiscuous? Was she not talking to you about sex? Did you not talk to her about the birds and the bees and how she should protect herself? What was that conversation like prior to she getting pregnant when she was 14 years old?
She knew about the birds and the bees. She knew about sex. She knew about good touch, bad touch, and I asked her periodically because I do have a husband in the house.
Right.
And I asked her, has anybody touched you? because I want to know. I don't care. I asked all of my children, has anybody touched you? Anybody did something to you? You let me know.
Right.
I don't care if it's me. If you think I'm acting funny, you tell somebody. If Granny acting funny, tell somebody. That's, we talked about sex.
Right.
We talked about sex. We talked about all the things that you should and shouldn't do.
Right. So,
my daughter, how she got pregnant.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
How she got pregnant at 14, she was going to local high school here. She loves to run. She was on the track team.
Right.
Well, she never not came home after school. She would catch the after school bus home like 2 or 3 days out of the week, and that was it. She'd go back to school, bam, that was it. We thought it started getting cold outside. We thought that she had the flu or she was sick or something, and her dad was still living at the time, and he had taken her. Coming to find out, she didn't want him to go to the doctor. I went with her the next day, back up there the next day, and that's when we found out she was pregnant. And I'm like, hello? Who been in them cakes? I didn't know. But I figured because she had ran away before.
Why did she run away? Why did she run away?
Went to the doctor.
Why did she run away?
I'm not sure. That's when she started to bottle up. When she started to run away and what have you, that's when she started to bottle up. I don't know what happened. And I still never really got down to what happened because that's when the communication really stopped with us when she was around 12 years old.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it could have been things that happened in our past because we have been homeless before. Trauma is probably what bottled her up. Poverty is what bottled her up. The living situation, because I had to live in the projects with my children,
Right.
I gave the projects there 1 year in my life. So it could have been all the violence that she's seen. It could have been trauma just within me being broken and raising her in brokenness in my pain. It could have been a reflection of me through her. It could have been a lot of things. I'm not going to just put it as if...
I want to talk about that part of you, your brokenness, because, it's interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned about your brokenness. I want to spend a little time on that, right? But before we get to that point, when she was 14 and she came to you and said she was pregnant, or however you found out that she was pregnant, she was evidently underage. So it was prosecutable. It is rape. She could not consent to sexual intercourse. So did you think about taking legal action at that time, at that 14-year-old, against whoever impregnated your 14-year-old daughter?
Yes, I did. I was looking for whoever. I didn't know who the young man was until she was 6 months pregnant. She wouldn't tell me. I didn't know. I was thinking about whoever it could have been. I was thinking about, could it been any of my son's friends, because I do have 2 older sons.
Right.
And I was like, no, because nobody really comes over my house like that. She doesn't go anywhere. So I'm like, who got you pregnant? Like, where did this, I had so many things going through my mind. I'm asking so many questions, and she just completely shut down on me. Yeah, so I tried to get counseling. At the time, it was counseling, plenty of counseling. I had to open the case with the Department of Child Services for 2 years with her.
Right.
It was plenty of services. I wanted services. It was plenty. It was plenty of help. It was church. We were in church. It was pastors that was reaching out. I was my mama, my grandma, friends. Everybody, her cousins on her daddy's side, her dad, everybody was trying to figure out what was wrong.
But so
she never.
So the person who impregnated your 14-year-old daughter was never prosecuted, right?
No.
Okay.
We didn't prosecute him. He was 15.
Okay. He was 15. Okay. All right. We got that. We got there. So that's her first child at 14. What happened with the second child? When did she have the second child?
She had the second child at 16.
Okay. Was it with the same father?
Yes, they had both the girls had the same father.
Okay. At that point in time, what you thinking? Like I mean, it happened once. You spoke to her about it. It happened again. Tell me your mindset. What's going through your mind at this time? Now you have 2 granddaughters, for your teen daughter?
What went through my mind is we getting out of here. It was too available to her. So I picked up and I moved to Hopkinsville, Kentucky with my baby.
So you moved from the location that you were staying to a different part of town.
I moved to a whole other state.
Right, but did you think that would have solved the problem? Is it that the area that she was in, she was open and accessible to sex, and moving her to a different part, she would be less available to sex? What was the mindset? What was the thinking?
I was thinking just about getting her out of here, because I'm like, she's not the type of person that runs the streets. If my baby, and that's any of my children, if they don't know you or know familiar surroundings of familiar people, they're not going. That's just not what they're going to do. And she was in a relationship that was unhealthy. I was in a relationship at that time that was unhealthy. I was in a marriage that was unhealthy. So for me, my daughter, and my children, I had to break away. And then what really pushed me is when in this relationship, violence came in her relationship with her kids' father. So at that point, I called the Department of Child Services on their family, and I took my daughter and the grandbaby, which is her baby, and the other children, and I moved to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I said, we need to clear our heads and get a fresh start. Right. A lady friend of mine had told me it was a small place, small knit community, and I was just like, maybe we could go here and get a fresh start. We don't know anybody, and we are a close family. We're not in everybody's business. We're not all over everybody's house.
Right.
So I was just like, it has to stop. This is what I did. I'm like, okay, Lord, this is it. We gotta go. So we picked up and moved.
What do you say to people that come at you and say, listen, Keita, you weren't paying attention. You missed the ball. Your daughter got pregnant twice on your watch. What do you say to people that come at you and lodge those complaints or say these things to you? What's your response?
My response is that they couldn't have been through what I've been through. They couldn't even imagine, and it's just an opinion. Because a lot of people were saying, well, if it was me, I would kill him, and if it was me, and that's what I used to say until it became me. And when it became me, you can't kill him.
Right.
Try. This is not a killing moment. You can't be hateful. This is not a hateful moment. Now we need to love through it, because somewhere, and I will put this to me, and it goes back through my pain. I feel like that I bought my children to show them love, and Anaya is very spoiled. I was getting her $150 hairdos at 12 years old, for her to take it down, or I'm $200 or $300 at tax time for them to get on the bus and go do what they wanted to do with it.
Right.
It's like I tried to do the best that I could, because I knew that sometimes I didn't have it, and I knew that sometimes my situation wasn't always good. So I gave money to try to compensate.
You threw money at it. You threw money at the problem. You threw money at the problem. What is the question that we need to look at is you. Let's look at you a bit. Yes. You keep mentioning that you were broken. Things happened to you. What happened in your situation? What happened to you?
I was introduced to sexual abuse between the ages of 2 and 3.
What age?
And it wasn't between 2 and 3. I remember like it was yesterday.
So you were sexually abused. You were sexually abused at the age of 3, between that time frame.
Yes. And it wasn't like it was people that were strangers. It was by a family member, by a female family member.
Wow.
And that tore me. Once I was older to know that this is not right. My mother always taught me, don't let, if a man touch you, if a man. But what Mama forgot to tell me, what if a woman? I was looking for a man to do something to me. I was looking for a man to hurt me. I wasn't looking for a woman to hurt me. I was hurt by a woman. So out of that, I was determined that I was not going to let that happen to my children. I was determined that I wasn't going to be a lesbian. I've been fighting demons of homosexuality for myself. You know, I was determined that I didn't want that label because in my time, in my household, you're not going to do that. It's the shunned up on. You know, my people are old school. You're not coming in there like that. So I was determined that I'm not going to be a lesbian. That was my mindset because that was what it was installed in me from my foundation. I looked up to my mother and my grandmother. I didn't want to disappoint them.
What happened to her father? What happened to her father, that fatherly figure there?
When I met her father, it was her father, and this is where it's painful for me. Her father's 13 years older than me, but I was grown when I met her father. And her father.
So hold on. Her father was almost the same age, if you calculate it back, as this man. This 30-year-old man is to her, about 12, 13 years older.
Right. When I met her father, I was maybe like 22, 23 when I met her father, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And he was like 12 or 13 years older than me. And he showed me some things. He showed me what a gentleman was. He was the first man to open the door for me. He was the first man to ask me where I wanted to go, and we went. My first trip with her father was to the mall, and I could have got whatever I wanted. I didn't even know what's about. So I bought a halter top, and I only wear a halter top because I had never had the experience. You know, I didn't know.
Right.
So, and then her father later on to find out he was married. After I got pregnant, I found out he was married. Oh. So that killed me. That crushed me. He was using me. And I being exactly where my baby is standing. I might not have been there, you know, with 2 children at 17, but it doesn't matter. I was 2 children at 20, 22, whatever. And I was broken. I cried for months. It was his mother, which was her grandmother, who comforted and consoled me and took me to church because I was broken. I cried for days upon days upon days.
So we have a situation here where you're saying to us that you are broken. You came from that broken life as well. You were sexually molested from the age of 2 to 3 all the way up until probably 9 or 10 for a number of years. It happened to you. You were broken. And you think that quite possibly that it was part of that. Oh, no, I shouldn't say you think, but do you think that it was part of your brokenness got transferred over to your daughter? She's seeing the hurt and the pain that she went through. You dated you got pregnant for a man who was married at the time. He was 12 years older than you. She's seeing all of that stuff. And she's seeing that this is what mommy's doing. I want to grow up to be like mommy, right?
Yes.
So
I'm her biggest fan.
Right. So she's seeing all of that stuff. Evidently, that's quite possibly. Now, I'm not saying that it all happens all the time. Quite possibly that she would grow up and emanate what you did in your life.
Absolutely.
So what is so shocking then when you see that she got pregnant at 14 and now she's dating a 30-year-old man which is 12, 13 years older than her? How is that shocking to you?
How that's shocking to me, I don't approve of it. However, I know that I don't have too much say, but when you come and disrupt her from her children, when you take her off of the path that she was on, because my daughter was working, my daughter is not on welfare. My daughter, she graduated at 16 years old. She came home with her diploma on her daughter's second birthday. Yeah. My daughter has been holding a job, summer jobs, and she's been working since she was 13.
But what make you think he took her away? What make you think he took her away? Or she wanted that? That's what make you think that that's not what she wants? I'm not, and quite possibly that could be what she wants. Right.
But she didn't want that by herself. Sometimes, you know, she wants to get away. Yes. because here it is. I have other children in the home, and I'm still mama. I'm still going to be mama. I'm still going to tell you to get up and clean up your room. And at this point, she feels like she never says she's grown, but she feels like she's grown. She feels like she's a mother. Yeah. You know, she told me, she said, Mama, I don't want you to, you know, try to predict my children or how I raise my girls, so I step out of her way. But it's hard to do that when you have a woman and a little woman in the house raising little women.
Yes,
you know?
Because, Mommy, you can't push the genie back inside the bottle, right?
Yes.
And I think that is what is kind of conflicting here in a lot of people's mind. So here we have, as you said, a woman and a little woman. You have a baby, and your baby have babies. You can't tell her what to do at this point in time.
Right.
Although she's 17,
right.
She have kids, she went through labor, she went through all of that stuff. She's not a little kid anymore. She's a woman. She breastfeed her babies, right? So this is a situation here where a lot of people might say, Mommy, too little, too late.